We've crossed into a state of war. You know it. I know it. We've known it for a long time. And still some people are like, how did we get here? This is not the place that I know. This is not the America. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, the fuck it is. Okay? And there's a lot of us who have been telling you for a long time, using every means that we have, whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's words, whatever it is, we have been trying to get people to prepare for this moment. And here it is. And here it is. And it didn't just happen, of course, right? We know that. It didn't just happen. It didn't just start with Alex Pretty or with Renee Good. Of course it didn't. But the thing is, this was always going to take, unfortunately, because of the way that white supremacy has insulated white people from understanding the place that they live in, from understanding the people that they are, they've been educated to be, right? There is an insulation. There is an innocence that is basically thrust upon white people in this country. And unless you throw it off and acknowledge your complicity and the place that you live in, unless you've done that before now, it's a shock. It's a big shock. You know, and one of the reasons it's such a big shock is because you got used to seeing people like me losing our lives. You got used to it, you know, and there'd be inflection points, sure, where it'd be like, well, that was just a little too much. But you didn't realize that it was happening all day, every day. Right. The immigration stuff that's happening now, you can't get to where we are from any place healthy. You simply can't. You simply cannot get to an outright fascist country from a healthy and thriving community, from a healthy and thriving country that actually believes in people's rights. You can't do that. It hasn't even been a slow creep. It's the way that it started, right? But you have been kept pacified. You've been kept pacified by family. You've been kept pacified by Major League Sports. Right? Think about the number of people who are out there protesting but are still planning to watch the fucking Super Bowl. The pageant of empire of all pageants of empires, right? With a bunch of white owners, right? And white quarterbacks and a bunch of black and brown people crashing into each other, destroying their brains and bodies, right? And being forced to be silent about everything that matters. Remember Colin Kaepernick? That should have been as much of a tell about what this country is as anything ever, right? Because this person who was a perfectly good, I mean, in fact, I don't know anything about fucking sports, okay? I'm too cute for sports. But like, they are, like, he got ruined. He got his life ruined, right? He got the best years of his active sports life taken away. Because he did what? He took a fucking knee to say, hey, maybe don't kill black and brown people. Maybe don't do that. Maybe don't rev up an engine for destruction and enslavement even more than it's already been revved up. Hey, maybe since I have all this money and a platform, I'm going to use it. And guess what? People largely looked away. Some people were like, I agree. Some people were like, I don't agree. But nobody really changed their lives. And they kept watching the fucking NFL and the MLB and buying the jerseys and doing all that stuff when it's the most jingoistic, nonsensical, the stadiums that are in every, somewhere in every state, right? That are essentially just giant eyesores, sucking up money, sucking up time. And guess what? These players, they're bought and sold and traded from all over the country. So it's not like it's actually some local team that you should be supporting. It's not like this is something that belongs to the people. This is the literal pageantry of empire. And do you see that it's connected? No, a lot of people don't see that it's connected. Because nothing's going to change until we change. Nothing's going to change until we actually shut the machine down, until we say no. And that is going to take a bunch of stuff that we're not going to talk about here, but it's also, more importantly, every day going to take you. It's going to take you actually acting like you know what fucking is going on. Like you know that Minneapolis is not going to stop at Minneapolis. It's coming. Coming soon to a theater near you. The same thing that's happening there. And guess what? It's always been happening near you, right? You didn't hear that, maybe it wasn't quite as overt. Maybe it was done on the sneak tip, but now they've taken the mask off. They've given all this money, all the Proud Boys, right? All the militia men, all of the people all of the fucking losers who bought in to the lie of patriarchy and white supremacy and misogyny, all those people who bought into that lie. Well, now they can get money. And it looks like they're winning. And since they're inherently cowards, they love a time when they can go out and they can do damage and it looks like they're winning and it's all on their side. But guess what? It is our duty. It is our solemn duty to ourselves, to the future, to the world, and of course to the people who are most in danger. It is our solemn duty to act like we fucking know and to move differently from this moment forward, right? The best time to start was years ago. Second best time to start is right fucking now. Welcome to the Focused on Infinity Hour, more or less. As we're about to hear in the Astrological Weather Report by our very own Alice Pope of Alice Pope Astrology, we have crossed into a new time. And it's a time that coincides historically with a lot of other very tumultuous and tempestuous times. But guess what? Sometimes tumult and tempest is what is required. Because you can't move a structure when it's totally still. The best time to move something gigantic is when it's already rocking. When you can begin to use the motions and the swaying and the reverberations from the ground up to further destabilize that structure, right? And here's the thing. What we're not doing is just knocking it down. What we are doing is we are pushing up through the cracks and making a structure. As this one falls, we are building another one. Are you building? Have you done some of the things that I've suggested and made some Discord groups that are for organizing, some Signal groups? Have you got redundancy? Have you been actually, meeting some of the local people that are actually, aligned with you, right? And yes, meeting your neighbors too, but it's easy enough to just say, go meet your neighbors, right? That's like a vast oversimplification of what needs to be done. You need to meet people near you who are values aligned and that you can trust, right? Because those are the people that you're going to be able to build with. And then when your other goofball neighbors actually show up and are like, hey, this is really bad, you can be like, yeah, just come on. We know what to do. That's our job right now, right? This is a time when you're going to find out who you really are, who you really can be. You're going to embody the force that is needed for this moment, or you're not. You're going to step up to this moment, or you will not. And that's going to tell the whole story in the future, right? It's going to tell the whole tale. And that doesn't mean that you're going to need to be throwing hands, though guess what? Some of you in here who think that you're not going to need to throw hands will indeed need to throw some hands. You're going to need to do that. There's going to be a moment where you're going to be faced with a choice point, because sometimes you don't choose a fight. Often you don't choose a fight, really. Sometimes it shows up. Sometimes all of a sudden you're in a fight. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What I always say is, I'll never start a fight. I'm not going to start a fight. But if you step to me or those that I care about, I will do everything in my power to make sure that you don't ever do that again. And that is the mentality we need to adopt at this moment, right? Not one necessarily of just rage and vitriol, but of a certain kind of coldness that is required to meet evil. It's the ability to look evil in the face and say, you are why anger exists. You are why righteous rage exists. It exists to deal with people like you, with situations like this, right? Because the idea that we just need to roll over and be peaceful, that's just silly. That's not reality. It never is reality. Sometimes you got to fight. Sometimes you don't choose to. But what are you going to do when it shows up at your door? We have today for you the excellent Marcella Onyango of Feel the News, who you may have heard of. They were a part of our Slayers and Players event, our D&D event that was produced by myself and Mistrix. That we are going to do again someday. We'll do it again. Listen, anyone who's ever played D&D knows the hardest thing to do is get a group of adults together consistently for a D&D game. So, but you can actually look back in this channel and find that. But they've got some great comedy stylings for you, and we're going to watch one of it's genuinely hilarious. I'm not just saying that because they're an awesome person, but because I laughed my gizzard out. And we've got also, of course, as usual, some great things. We've got Lara Listens. We've got the usual stuff, but it's always going to be something new, something fresh, and we're going to keep bringing it to you. And we're also going to keep getting you fired up to fight, because it's both. We need the love, we need the art, and we need the fist sometimes. And right now, it's time to knuckle up. But for now, let's go to the astrological weather report with our very own Alice Pope of Alice Pope Astrology. Mistrix, set us off.